Greetings, Rajee Narinesingh here, trans activist, author, and actress. Or should I introduce myself as Cement Woman? Ta-da! It's Cement Woman. I think I'm gonna get a doll made in my image and name her Cement Woman. Oh my gosh. Well, what I mean is, the story of my black market injections has truly taken on a life of its own. And these last 4 or so years have been phenomenal. I've been so blessed to be given a platform to share my story and to use my story to educate, advocate, and really touch many people around the world. My story has been featured on many, many media outlets globally. I'm talking about 26, 27 TV shows. That's not even to mention all of the newspaper articles and the online features of me, and just all of the news stories that have been done globally. Just phenomenal. And then, of course, in recent times, my experience on the reality show Botched on the E! Network, season 2, last season, my story was featured, and I received, oh my gosh, so much wonderful feedback from people all around the world. And season 3, I'm invited back, and I actually received corrective surgery from the doctors, and now I have a new face. And the feedback on that has been just absolutely wonderful. Recently, I started to think about my journey and how much of my journey people really know. I think I started to think about this because of a few encounters that I had with some of my wonderful supporters. I was at the market the other day, and a guy saw me that recognized me, and he came over and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I love you." He says, "I love your spirit, and you're just so inspiring, and you really touched me." And we were talking, and I connected with him, and he looks at me, he says, "You really should think about writing a book." And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a really good idea, but I already have a book. It's called Beyond Face Value, A Journey to True Beauty. And this is my memoir. And so I thought, well, that's interesting. Well, anyway, I told him about it. He said he was going to definitely order a copy. So anyway, then I received a message on one of my Facebook pages from a supporter who saw me on Botched, and she said that she absolutely loved me, and that she really felt inspired at the way that I had dealt with the situation for so long. And then she commented that she'd gone on my YouTube station, my YouTube channel, and she saw one of my monologues that I did on video. And she said, "My goodness, you're a pretty good actor." And I thought to myself, thank you, but I've been doing this since high school. I went to a performing arts high school. So anyway, then I had another experience this past Sunday. I go to the Center of Spiritual Living. It's really, really a great center. I've been a member there about 8 years now. And he must be new because he didn't realize that I belonged to that center. After service, he came over to me. He says, "Oh my God, I saw you on TV last night." He said, "I loved it." And he's like, "You're just such a beautiful spirit, and you really touch me." And, we're talking, connecting. And then he looks at me and he says, "Well, what do you do? Are you a hairstylist?" And I looked at him, and not that there's anything wrong with being a hairstylist, but I said, "No, actually, I'm an activist. I've been an activist in the LGBT community for over 18 years, working for a number of different agencies, going out and speaking at different venues, educating people on transgenderism, doing outreach, just so much work the last 18 years. And so these different experiences got me to thinking, wow, there's a lot that my supporters really don't know about me. And I started to look at some of the articles that my wonderful supporters on Facebook sent me from places all around the world. There were articles written about me, and had no idea that they existed. And so my supporters were like tagging my pages, my different Facebook pages, and you know, all the salacious headlines like, cement woman gets help, and transgender with cement in her finally has a new face, and cement, cement, cement. And I mean, granted, it is my story. I've struggled the last 10 years with this situation. So I don't want to take anything away from that. But I just thought, wow, like these other things about me, they're actually like getting buried under the cement. Pun intended. Because when I do these interviews with different people, they ask me like, well, what do you do? And what are some of your projects? And what are your passions? And I tell them about my book. I tell them about my acting. I tell them about my activist work. But oftentimes, none of that is mentioned in the articles. And if it is, it's falling between the cracks. Literally between the cracks and the cement. Get it? Oh my gosh. But no, I think to myself, God, there's so much that people don't know about my journey. And yes, these last 10 years with this situation, dealing with, my black market injections has really been a challenging time for me. And it's definitely a very important part of my journey, but it's not all of what makes me who I am in this moment. And, when I think about my memoir, Beyond Face Value, I think about, like, the things that I share. Like, I talk about my multi-racial background and, how it was to grow up in a home that my mother is Christian and my father was Hindu. And, the relentless bullying that I experienced in school and how I survived that, and my connection to Kelly Ripa, the American morning talk show host on Live with Kelly, and how we have a connection. I bet you all didn't know that. And, me being brutally attacked by a group of guys who targeted me for being transgender, and they literally pulled me off of a city bus in Philadelphia. And, how I got through that. And my trip to England and my encounter with the late, great David Bowie. And there's just so much. I mean, my transgender bathroom debacle that happened about 12 years ago, way before this whole North Carolina thing. My out-of-body experience to heaven. And, I mean, there's just so much that I have journeyed through that makes me the Rajee that I am in this moment. And for those of you who really want to know the full story, my full journey up to this point, check out my book, Beyond Face Value. It's available on Amazon.com and a number of the other online book retailers. I don't hold back. I write about the good, the bad, and the ugly, honey. I tell people, after you read my book, I hope you still like me, because I talk about it all. But I really think it's important to be authentic about your journey. And really, all that I've been through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, makes me who I am in this moment. So I can only be real. And if you like a juicy read and you want to know more about Rajee and my journey, check out Beyond Face Value. And then send me a message on my Facebook page. I'd love to hear your feedback. Love, peace, and blessings. And I'm more than cement.